war in the Gulf, Americans fleeing, oil surging, and the world on edge. 36,000 Americans flee as U.S.-Iran conflict escalates.
Imagine waking up in a foreign country and suddenly hearing missiles being launched nearby. Airports are closing, and your government is telling you to leave immediately. That is the reality thousands of Americans faced in the Middle East over the past week. Since the United States and Israel launched military strikes on Iran on February 28, 2026, tensions across the region have exploded. Missiles, drone attacks, and threats to global oil routes have turned the situation into one of the most serious international crises in years.
And now, more than 36,000 Americans have rushed to leave the region as the conflict escalates. But how did this crisis start? Why are people evacuating so quickly? And what could this war mean for the global economy and everyday people around the world? Let's break it down in simple terms. The massive evacuation.
According to the U.S. State Department, over 36,000 American citizens have already returned to the United States since the conflict began. Many of them were living, working, or traveling in countries across the Middle East. When the fighting started, the U.S. government quickly warned citizens that the situation could become dangerous. Commercial flights began filling up quickly. Some airlines canceled routes because of security concerns. Airspace in parts of the region became restricted due to missile attacks. To help Americans get home safely, the U.S. government organized special charter flights and emergency travel options. Officials even created a 24-hour task force to guide citizens who needed help leaving. Think of it like a sudden emergency evacuation during a natural disaster. People are rushing to the airport, trying to secure flights before the situation gets worse. For many families, the priority was simple: get home safely.
What started the conflict? The crisis began when the United States and Israel launched a joint military strike called Operation Epic Fury against Iranian targets. The Trump administration justified the attack as preemptive defense, claiming Iran was only a week away from launching a major missile strike. However, the operation was highly controversial because it resulted in the death of the Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and several high-ranking officials.
Critics have drawn comparisons to the Iraq War, noting that the administration has provided little evidence of an immediate threat. While the U.S. claimed the strikes were necessary to stop Iran's nuclear and missile programs, many point out that Iran's leadership had previously issued religious decrees, fatwas, against nuclear weapons. Because the attack was launched without notifying the UN Security Council, many international observers view it as a violation of international law and a war crime against a sovereign nation. This has sparked a fierce debate. Supporters believe the move prevented a larger conflict, while opponents fear it has actually started one.
Iran's response, Operation True Promise. 4. Iran did not remain silent. Soon after the strikes, Iran's powerful military organization, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, began launching retaliatory attacks. Iran named its response Operation True Promise 4.
These attacks involve waves of ballistic missiles and drones targeting Israeli territory and American military bases in the region. Some of the missiles used include advanced Iranian weapons such as the Khaybar-Shikan, a long-range missile capable of carrying large explosive warheads. Iran claims several of these missiles successfully hit military targets. Some attacks were reportedly aimed at locations such as Israeli cities like Tel Aviv and Haifa, and U.S. military facilities in the region. Also, the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet Base in Bahrain. However, many incoming missiles have been intercepted by defense systems like Israel's Iron Dome and other advanced air defenses. Still, the repeated missile attacks show that Iran retains significant military capabilities. In simple terms, both sides are now exchanging powerful blows, and neither appears ready to back down.
The cost of war. Wars are not only dangerous, they are extremely expensive. According to analysts, the first 100 hours of the military campaign cost the United States around $3.7 billion. Daily military operations may cost close to $1 billion per day.
This spending includes aircraft missions, naval deployments, missile defense systems, advanced weapons and ammunition. Some members of Congress are already worried about the financial impact. If the conflict continues for months, the total cost could rise into the tens of billions of dollars. Many Americans are asking an important question. Why spend billions overseas when there are serious problems at home like housing costs, healthcare, and inflation? These concerns are fueling debate about whether the war is worth the cost.
What happens next? Right now, the situation remains unpredictable. Both sides continue military operations. Iran is launching missile strikes. The United States and Israel are continuing air and defense operations.
At the same time, many countries are urging diplomatic talks to prevent the conflict from growing into a full-scale regional war. If the fighting spreads further, it could involve other countries and disrupt global trade and energy supplies even more. For the average person watching from afar, this conflict may seem distant. But global crises like this often affect everyone through higher fuel prices, economic uncertainty, and political tensions. For now, thousands of Americans have already left the region, but the crisis is far from over. The world is watching closely to see whether this conflict becomes a short confrontation or the beginning of a much larger war. And as history has shown many times, wars that begin quickly can sometimes last far longer than anyone expects.
So, is this quick victory or long grind? Trump says we're winning big, but Iran's still firing, evacuations continue, and costs mount. Wars like this touch everyone, through prices, security, and global ripples. What do you think? Justified preemption or dangerous escalation? Drop comments below. If this helps, like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more updates as this develops fast. Stay informed, stay safe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.